Hello, everyone. I cannot believe how long it's been since I've done one of these lives. I feel like everybody was doing them during the pandemic, including myself. And we just all stopped. So I thought, why not bring it back? I don't want to leave my house still. Hi. So I am hosting a live conversation tonight with Sari Rose Barron. Sari Rose Therapy is her handle, and I am going to go and we're going to be talking all things parenting, marriage, family, kids. Get your questions ready for her. She is literally okay. Well, I'll save the intro for. Hi.
Hello.
I love. First of all, I love that you're in your office, and I'm literally like in my bed.
Listen, it's my home office. I have some smut books back here. I
Perfect.
just asked my kids nicely, sort of, to be
Good.
quiet. Hopefully the dog be.
I told Ezra, my oldest, I was like, okay, you have 5 more minutes of cuddles. I have to go. I gotta go
Oh,
live. I gotta go
oh
live.
my God.
Oh
I'm
my
so excited.
gosh.
It's good to see you
It's
live.
so good. I know. Okay, so I have to do the intro because nobody knows. We know, but nobody
Yes.
knows. So Ree and I have been friends okay, we met when we were 18.
I
So
baby.
that's crazy.
We're
Like,
babies.
so we've known each other, what, 26 years? Is that crazy? Wait,
I mean,
is that math
wait,
mathing? Are we that old?
18 plus 26. No,
Did I do the
20,
math wrong?
25 years? Come on,
Oh,
don't.
you're not 44 yet.
Okay,
So
I'm
I'm just turned
43.
40. So there you go. Yeah, so we met when we were 18, first year of college. And the crazy thing is, we instantly hit it off, but you left to go to
I did.
NYU. We were at UC Irvine.
I did.
And anyway, we stayed connected, stayed bonded. And Sari also pursued musical theater, but is now a licensed marriage and family therapist. So now, not only is she one of my dearest, closest, longest friends, but she's also sort of my pseudo therapist. So just kidding. You're not
I'm your
actually
friend.
allowed to say that. Yeah, I'm just kidding. It's actually against like all laws, right? You can't really say that.
No dual relationship. But like the thing is, like we all ask our friends for advice, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I would never actually, when I had a therapist, I was not asking, well, she just would not give me advice.
Right.
So, I'm like, tell me what to do.
Right. It's true. Unfortunately, my clients, I'm like, let's explore the dilemma. And with you, I'm like,
Yes.
listen, here's what you gotta do.
Here's what you're going to do.
Here's what
This
you
is the
gotta do.
solution. I know.
Yeah.
Well, and so we thought it would be such a good idea to let you all into our conversations and let you ask Sari, because I do feel very privileged, I have to say, to be able to like we Marco Polo a lot, and I'll be like, Sari, this is what I'm going through. What do I do? How can I approach this with my kids, my husband, whatever? And yeah, so I get all like this free advice. So we thought maybe my followers, my mom community here, or my miraculous community would like some free advice, right?
Yeah. Yes, I'm super happy to be here. I mean, I feel like parenting is just hard. And I just want to like reiterate that I'm a parent first, right? So
Yeah,
even as a therapist, I get triggered. I have my own stuff,
yeah.
and it's hard when we get triggered. And so yeah, I'm happy to help in any way that I can. So
That's yeah, and that's the thing too. I think a lot of us parents, we just well, in this day and age, and in the age of social media, we feel really guilty. Like we feel like we're just not doing it right, doing enough. We're falling short every day. And so I feel like your page in particular is so helpful to me to know that I am enough and that I'm not a failure and that we're never going to be perfect parents, And I think you're really good at that.
um
Highlighting.
thanks, Sayla. I feel
Yes,
like you also bring out the humor. Like you really bring the realness in like a little bit of an exaggerated,
totally.
humorous way. But I love it because listen, humor gets us through. But I feel like you bring
Okay.
up a really good point that is important to touch on that I have to remind myself every day also, which is that like being a perfect parent, I mean, we strive to that because we want to set up our kids, for success, but it actually fosters like more of an anxious attachment, right? Like perfection.
Yeah.
undercurrent of that is a lot of anxiety. So I think it's a helpful reminder sometimes that it's actually in those imperfect moments. We're just going to reframe it a little. Like
Yeah.
it's actually in those imperfect moments where we can find our way back to attunement with our kids that actually fosters secure attachment. It's those conflicts, it's finding our way into repair where we can validate, we can help our children feel seen, we can take ownership of our part and model for them. And that doesn't mean we throw away all of our boundaries and the learning points, but we can't do any learning when there's two people that are like in crisis mode,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah. Well, and even just tonight, I lost my you know what. Like I feel like you brought up something earlier, or even just a few sentences ago, where you said where they trigger you, and
yeah.
you just like see red, you know, and that's where I personally have a problem, and I felt like so disappointed in myself tonight because I felt like I've been doing so much better, and for me, and I've talked about this on social media, for me, it's when my kids, tease me and like poke at me. They like, they just mess with me, you know? And it goes back to my childhood of being, I had six brothers,
Yeah.
teased relentlessly. And it really triggers me. And maybe somebody else could stay calm in it, but I just like go berserk. I feel disrespected, you know? I don't know. Can you
And
talk about
yeah,
those triggers?
yeah, and we all have triggers in one form or another, just like that. And I think when we get triggered, the reason why it's so hard is because it's literally like a reflex of reactivity. So, like, you're at a doctor's and they bend, like, clunk your knee and your leg goes bonk bonk,
Yeah.
you know, like it's not even a choice. It's a reflex. And so when something gets kind of like triggered or lit up in the brain that like you know where it comes from. A lot of us don't,
Right.
right? But
Right.
if something like your kids trigger something for you, it's the teasing, it lights up that part of the brain. If this is the brain, it goes and it lights up that time when your brothers were ba 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 to you. And so you respond almost like your system is in like a hijack. And I remember us kind of chatting about this, but sometimes it's helpful just to like ground yourself after the fact. It's okay. We get triggered, we lose our shit sometimes, right? And it's almost like remembering like, oh, that's right, these are my kids, these are not my brothers, right? Like what's
Yes.
different about this moment today than back in time of what's getting kind of remembered in your nervous system. And so like that's for like for you, you kind of are aware of where that comes from, but even if you're not, right, even if you have those moments where you are feeling triggered and you're not really sure why, and now you're beating yourself up because that's super common, that like shame cycle that we get into
Yes.
as parents. It's like if we take a few beats to just take some breaths, some grounding breaths, and we remind ourselves, like, okay, how do I wish I could have responded? Right? We're really
Mhm.
looking at how do we bring down the reactivity and then how do we respond to that? And there's nothing, it's like such a gift if you can go back to your kids and say, okay, I was really angry and I'm really sorry that I lost my temper. That must and the addition to that I would encourage is to actually check in with like, gosh, how was that for you? And if they're little, maybe you say something like, you know, that must have been pretty scary for you, was it? You know, and then you can kind of talk about here's why I got angry. Like the learning moments happen when when they're not triggered and we're not triggered. We have to find the
Yeah.
repair and we have to help them calm down, right? Like we have to bring in our calm and lend our calm so that they can take our calm. That's co-regulation.
Yeah.
So,
And what do you think too, like on that? And by the way, I see some questions coming through and
oh yeah.
please send them to us. We're not going to add anybody else, but you guys can put your questions in the little chat thing and we will answer them. But what do you think? Okay, going back to the repair part, I feel like sometimes there's also like, I don't know how to explain this, like slightly like almost like an abusive pat, not abusive, but you know, like in an abusive relationship, it's like you made me hit you, kind of like that's an
Okay.
abusive pattern, right? So what I feel like sometimes when I'm like, I'm so sorry, I yelled at you, blah blah blah. And then even this happened to me tonight. I said, but you were antagonizing me. Like it was almost like I was saying like, but it was your fault. You caused that, even though it was my
Okay,
fault.
so let's just like get into this a little bit with Sayla stuff for just a second because I have lots of thoughts on that about like codependency versus co-regulation, right?
Right, right.
But but
Exactly.
the tone that you just used, Sayla, where it's like, wait a minute, you're the one that was antagonizing me. Like, how if you were to kind of think about how old you feel in those moments,
Totally.
how old, what age state does that comment belong to?
10. No, just kidding. But very, yes.
Yeah, like
And
10,
to be
12,
to
13,
be
14,
honest,
15.
I didn't say it to him like that, like obviously. But in my head, I was thinking, did I say that right? Because that could be
No,
misconstrued. You know what I mean?
sure, that's right. And that's like a common thing that comes up. We feel powerless in those moments
Yes.
with our kids. Our kids are just being kids. Like they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is like they don't know how to self-regulate yet. They're trying to push boundaries all over the place. If they're teens or tweens, they're like finding their autonomy and individuation. They're supposed to be testing limits. Like we are supposed to feel like we are going cuckoo, right?
Yes.
So it is bonkers. Now, you bring up a really good point, which comes up a lot. Sometimes we are wanting to prove our point or to help them understand, well, because you did this, then I got angry. And
Yes.
I need you to not do that, so I'm not angry,
Yes.
right? And that's where it's like we want to shift out of this experience of, I need them to show up differently so that I'm regulated. I need
Yes.
them to fix it so that I'm okay versus like, and again, we don't throw teaching moments and boundaries and limit setting out the window, but we want to have an experience for them to say, you get to be a kid and be however you are. And I'm going to work like the focus becomes self focused rather than they need to fix something. I need to work on staying grounded in my anger, in my rage, sometimes that comes
Yes.
up in the red that I see, right? And there's all sorts of strategies to help you kind of stay grounded through those things. But I need to stay grounded so that ultimately I can stay contained while they kind of spin and find their way back down, and then we can talk about it.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I feel like too, regardless, it's still better that we're trying to repair, I think, our generation, right? Like, I feel like our parents probably never even thought twice about
I mean, like an
or
apology
my
would have been
parents.
really, really nice. I
Really
love you,
nice.
mom.
I
And
love you
here's the thing
guys.
too. Like our, we love you, parents. Here's the thing. Like this comes up a lot with clients too. It's like there's a lot of feeling of, well, my parents went through this and they went through that, and they're so great. They're so great.
Totally.
Yes, sometimes they are. Sometimes we come from families that are not so great, right? But
Yes.
like in general, our parents were doing the best that they knew how to do.
With the
That
tools
doesn't
they had. Yeah.
yeah, but that doesn't mean it didn't come with limitations that were impacting
Yeah.
us, right? Like, and that's really what we're looking at is how we've stored the impact that then we bring into our parenting attachment styles or into the way that we kind of what we bring into our dynamic with our kids, you
Exactly.
know?
And there's so much, I mean, there's so much to unpack there with the previous generation and all that stuff. But I think we do have to do things. Actually, my mom always says you have to do things your own way too. And what works for you is going to be different than what worked for me in my time and, all that
Yeah.
too. But I do think I feel better when I repair and it's not about like always apologizing or always, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it
Like
doesn't
just like an,
always have to look like super fluffy and or like cozy and like processing feelings, but we don't just want to brush something under the rug if it was clearly impactful for our
yes.
kids or for us, right? Like, let's say our kids don't even realize that something impacted us, but there's a learning moment in there that, like it's depending on the age states, it's like kids speak disrespectful to their parents all the time,
Yeah.
and we want to help them learn that certain kinds of language, certain kinds of tones, certain kinds of words hold a lot of impact and affect
Yeah.
people, right? But we want to do it in a way that's not shaming them, and or we want to repair if we've kind of got defensive back at them, but then
Mhm.
we ultimately want to help them kind of learn.
Yeah,
you know? Oh,
absolutely. And
yeah.
yeah, how to learn. Do you want to tell people, by the way, because there's a lot that are just joining, what it is you do on a daily basis? I don't know if we really covered that. Like you work with clients and
Yes.
every day,
Every,
and
yeah.
but if someone
Yeah. So,
can't work with you, I just want to like touch that for the people that are joining. Sari is a licensed marriage and family therapist. Also, oh, and then also talk about EMDR a little bit,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. So I'm a licensed marriage family therapist, and I'm also EMDR certified, and an approved consultant. And that's more, EMDR can be great for all sorts of things, but particularly one of my specialties is trauma and PTSD, as well as parenting and adolescence. So day to day, I am, seeing clients, and I also, I've been in private practice as a solo practitioner, but I have now a group practice, called SoCal Individual Family and Trauma Therapy. We are located in Irvine, but we serve, anyone from California and Oregon right now.
Oh,
Um, yeah. And it's just this amazing group of clinicians. We all have various subspecialties. We see all sorts of different age groups, and it's an amazing, amazing resource. And then on top of that, this has been kind of like a new fun thing, and truly like a passion project of mine because I believe so much in breaking cycles in parenting, and how we can reparent ourselves as parents while we're parenting our kids. And the work really starts with us. So I do have, now a parenting course that I filmed and it's on pre-sale right now, but I have so many, aside from that, just like free resources for parents, like scripts for tricky moments, of, as you're finding your way into what your words can be, just really good, helpful mantras,
okay.
a parenting attachment quiz, all sorts of things. And I just keep kind of creating. I'm going to be doing a webinar on, my thoughts on the Anxious Generation book, as well as kind of
Oh,
social media
very
and
exciting.
how to, like you're like the queen of Instagram. So I'm so curious if you've had conversations with your kids about social media yet. I know they're little, but
A
the book is,
little, not really. You know what's funny? Well, not to totally change the subject, but just a side note. My
yeah.
kids, because I work on with, they don't know that it's like Instagram or TikTok, but I will tell them I have to take videos and you're probably not going to be in it, but I have to do it like while I'm here for this brand or whatever it is. And that's how we're getting here for free. Like, I'll explain it. This is mommy's work. And because of that, they like hate it. They hate it. They hate anything that has to do. It's kind of sad, but it's also kind of good. Like I'm like, well, great. Like I do not want them to have social media because I work in it and I see kind of the dangers of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's too close to
it
home.
is. I mean, the human part of me, the parent part is like, oh God, what did we do to ourselves, our
I
society, and like
know.
our
I
kids?
know.
But and I think like what I've been hearing a lot from parents is like they're so scared after reading that book and just this talk about social media. And that book, while it brought up a lot of really important good points, I mean, we really want to get out of a state of fear and more into like, well, social media is here.
Right.
A lot of parents have already given their kids phones. We can't really do take backsies
Yep.
in that kind of black or white, all or nothing way. We're really wanting to work on, forming a healthy relationship, and we don't want to cut off communication about social media,
Right.
because when tricky
Right.
moments come up for them, we want them to feel like they're going to come to us, and that's not going to happen if we're like, get off your social media. You can't have Snapchat. You can't have Instagram. So we're really needing to shift our mindset. It's like when we learn how to drive, it's not like
Yeah.
I'm saying you can't drive. We're teaching them you put on a seatbelt. There's rules how we navigate in order to keep ourselves and other people safe. And we want to do something similar, I think, around our conversation around social media. It's like we're trying to figure out how to have a healthy relationship with social media and also healthy communication, so that again, when things get tricky, because they will at some
Yeah.
point, that we haven't just blocked off communication. I mean, that is probably the biggest takeaway. you know?
Yeah, that is such a great way to say it. I feel like for me right now, like I said, it's not really an issue, social media, but hopefully I'm paving the way for them not to want it. But
You know, I'm like,
but oh, yeah, right. It's probably not gonna they're probably gonna want to do it. But anyway, I already am experiencing the video game thing. And you and I have talked a little bit about that and just like setting limits because Ezra, my oldest, is obsessed with video games. And I made the mistake of kind of just like being like, okay, well, I guess a few games, not really knowing, not really doing my research because we played Mario Brothers, and Tetris, and it's completely different. And so then I was able to be like, okay, we got to take a step back. These are the ones you're allowed to play. Absolutely nothing from Safari, from the internet anymore. You know what I mean? Like that was like, duh. I learned that really quick.
I mean,
But who knew?
a lot of it is trial and error. I kind of, there's some things where I even as a understanding development and all the things and impact, like there's still moments where I'm like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to handle this? And sometimes when I get into those moments, I even say to my kids, I'm like, I am gonna say yes, but I'm not sure how I feel about this yet, so I might do some take backs.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep,
like
that's
because
good.
it's really like we're really learning how can we be in relationship with this device, whether it's video games, and also video games, especially as they age, there is a social component, there's access to
Yeah.
it. And also, I do want to say, and this goes against all my feelings about wanting to get rid of social media and all of that altogether, but there's a lot of connection that happens and there's a lot
Yeah.
of socialization, and it's not all bad. There are some needs getting met
Right.
by that. We just
Especially,
go
yeah,
ahead.
in this day and age. Well, I was just going to say exactly the mom that one of the mom friends I have that kind of like convinced me to let him do Minecraft. She was like, listen, we live in Los Angeles. It's very hard to schedule play dates. And they do all these activities at school. They come home at 4:35. You can't go to a friend's house at that point, you know what I mean? And you can't just run outside and ride your bike like we did as kids. And sadly, that is part of socialization in the modern world is they get on Minecraft together, and it's
Well,
fun.
and then we're really looking at like how do we set healthy limits? And kids
Yes.
don't know what those healthy limits are. They're looking for immediate gratification. Their brains are literally in development seeking gratification.
Yeah.
So we sometimes are saying, I'm going to set this limit, and they're going to just listen. When in reality, they're going to push back. They're going to throw
Yeah.
tantrums, whether they're teens or toddlers. like,
Exactly.
and they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it's our job as parents to kind of, if we can, hold our ground in a calm, compassionate way while being assertive and setting limits and helping them learn distress tolerance, disappointment tolerance. It's
Yes.
okay for them to be angry and disappointed. It is okay for them to figure out how to be distressed. And honestly, if they're angry when it's like it's time, we agreed on a time, and maybe one thing when you've already kind of set some times and now you're doing some take backsies and trying to set new boundaries around it, sometimes even collaborating with your child, and
Yeah.
depending on age, right, is like, all right, well, normally we play for 3 hours, and we have to think of a smaller amount of time. What time feels doable for you?
Oh my gosh,
And
he
if
would
they're
be
like
so happy if I
2
said
hours and 45 minutes. You're like, all right, less. I was
yeah,
thinking like 30 minutes. So what's the time in between that we can agree on,
that we
right? And
can
then
exactly.
when that time comes, expect pushback. And if they need to like stomp their feet and be angry about it, let them be angry about
Yeah,
it. It is okay
definitely.
for them to be angry about it. You know,
I
they
think that
will get through it.
yeah. And I think that's the hardest thing is to realize, there's going to be times that you just have to live through their tantrum, even as an older kid. Like that's how, and it is what it is. And it doesn't feel good, but you just have to do it. You have to just get through it.
I know. It's just and when you're thinking of like what are you supposed to say to help them calm down, instead of, if you find yourself thinking about how do I fix it for them? How do I get them to calm down? That is a direct sign that I want you to turn your attention back to you. How do I calm myself down?
Yes. Yes.
You know,
I love that.
I need
I
to
feel
take
like I
some
read that on your
breaths.
page recently, and I was like, Oh yeah, that's so good. Like just really thinking about what your body is doing instead of
Right.
thinking about how to calm them down. And then and by the way, then they actually, was like you're modeling it, they reflect it and then they start to calm down as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I also wanted to say, as far as like teaching them, like you said, frustration tolerance or disappointment tolerance and all of those things, what do you think? Because another friend, when I was like, absolutely no video games in my house ever, he was like, wait a second. I grew up with, he's like a really good dad friend of mine. He's like, I grew up with video games. It's a great way to get them to do. I read so much, so many minutes because my mom would give me extra minutes for all the reading, all these things. He's like, it was incentive for me to get my work done. Da, da, da. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like that. And so I started doing that. And then I'm like, I feel like now I never wanted to be like the bribing type of parent, and obviously we all do it when we have to. There's no judgment. I, of course, do it. But I try not to use bribes, right? Like, you don't want it, that's not your default. So now I feel
So
like I've gotten a pattern.
yeah, I
Does that
think,
make sense?
well, yes, I think so. I think there's a difference between I want to fix their behavior, so fine, you can have 5 more minutes, versus
Right.
kind of figuring out your way through it, versus pairing a responsibility or a behavior that you're wanting to see change with some kind of reward. And actually, like,
Okay.
I'm a big fan of that, instead of consequences, right? And especially as the kids age, and especially into like between like 9, 8, 9 and up, I actually think that it's very helpful to reframe. It's like, I'm not going to be like, I'm taking your phone away. I'm da 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 da. I mean, that's our instinct, because it's like we want something to
Totally.
punish them so they feel the sting. I would rather try to help empower them and say something like, listen, let's come up with a plan. If you do this, if you follow through with this, then you get this. It's in your control. I will say
Hmm.
the biggest piece where I see this kind of thing fail, and actually I go into this way, way deep in some resources that I have in the course that I have, but like the biggest area where all of this goes to shit. Am I allowed to cuss? Oh my god.
Yes,
Am I allowed to cuss?
I think so.
Instagram, am I allowed to
I
cuss? Oh
feel
my god, if there's kids
like if
watching,
we
I'm so sorry.
repost it, they'll beep it. I don't know. I actually don't know. We'll find out. We will find out.
Okay. Um
I know.
okay. So it's when parents actually don't hold the boundary, right? It's like they've come up with a strategy, their kid doesn't follow through, get the thing. And now their kids are like, "Come on," blah, 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 and they're mad about it. And they're all this and that. Whew, that is when everything in us is going to want to just say, "Okay, fine, take it. Get the iPad." That's where it's like, we as parents, ooh, we need to hold our ground, and we need to like also not I saw someone say, you're allowed to cuss. We
Oh,
need to
that's funny.
also
I just thought.
kind of like allow them to not do the thing that they say they're going to do. The moment,
Right.
right? So that they then feel the natural consequence of that, because it's not, I'm taking this away. It's, if you had done it, you would have gotten
Yeah,
this. And now that you didn't do it, we don't get it. And they're going to, if the more you do that, I tell you, it takes like 2 or 3 times of the sting. And then they're like, oh, they mean business.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That is one of the biggest things I always have to work on is the holding of the boundary. I mean, everybody probably.
Same. I just said it and I'm like, uh-huh, same.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's so hard and it's
Yeah.
like but when you do it consistently, the results are amazing. It's so true. I I well, actually this leads to another question. What do you think I was just having this conversation. What do you think about parents that what is worse, I should say, being a free-for-all parent or being an authoritarian parent? Obviously, we're all striving to be this like respectful parent, but do you think it's better to have like or maybe they're both bad. I don't know. I was just thinking about this the other day and I'm like, I wonder like if it's better to be authoritative and have some fear than the free-for-all parenting and permissive parenting we're seeing in a lot of people. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, you're not going to like my answer probably, because I don't think it's one or the other.
They're
Like,
both
it's
bad.
gray, right? They're both, and it's extreme, really. like to be authoritarian, right? To cut off, it cuts off communication. It's
Yeah.
fear-based parenting where the kids are now doing something because their system is in a state of fight or flight, like a trauma response,
Right.
right? So yes, they're getting the outcome, but their systems are not getting nurtured in the process, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's
now
right.
on the flip side, if you're just a free-for-all parent, because now we're kind of overcorrecting or we're on a pendulum, or maybe you're just starting out that way, I mean, the world doesn't operate without
Right.
no's, Like we have to be able to say no to our kids. Now, we also, sorry, I had a million thoughts pop in at once. We also want our kids to be able to learn how to say no. Oh my
Yeah.
God, right? Like, hello, we want someone to say, stop, I don't like that.
Yeah.
We want someone to say, no, that hurts me. We want, like we want our kids to be able to do that. How are they going to learn that if we don't
Totally.
say that too? Also, when we say no, or when we set a boundary, and a lot of it is how we set the boundary, right? And more than it's just make another choice, which I have no problem with that, but it can't just be that. It has to be paired also with sometimes what they say no, where they get to be dysregulated, because that's where they learn how to self regulate, or
Right.
else they just walk around the world with this lens of, I get everything I want and I
Yeah.
get to make my own rules.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. I think that's really true. And by the way, I keep seeing so many people joining. If you're just joining, this is Cerise. She is one of my dear friends. Fun fact, side note, a lot of my dear friends from college, in fact, every single roommate I ever had in Los Angeles became a therapist.
Oh my God.
That's weird. Why is that? What did I bring out in the like I
We
need to
all
help
need to go
Selah.
to therapy from living out. Kidding.
I know. She's not going to pay for therapy, so we'll give her. I'm just kidding. I did pay for therapy. But Sari is joining us live. We thought we would bring our questions about marriage and family and kids to Sari. She is a therapist. You also have a ton of free resources and things people can sign up for on your website. What's your website? And her handle, obviously. You can find everything there.
Actually, on my handle, if you go to the link tree,
The link
my
tree.
link
Okay.
in the bio, you have so many resources there. And I can also, I don't know how this works, but like I can also pop some links or share it on stories.
Oh, yeah, that's
For it.
good.
I mean, you
There,
can go to my website, cerebrostherapy.com, and you'll
okay.
find resources there. You'll find information about all the things. But if you want the actual resources, there's like independent links to that are in my
And then
link tree.
we're also taking questions here. I did see some questions, something about, let me just go back to it. If you are helping to raise children, would you apply that are your siblings younger with a big age gap? Would you apply the same sort of techniques?
I mean,
That's an interesting
every
question.
it is an interesting question. Every kid is different, right? So, and I don't know, are they asking like they have kids that are siblings but big age gaps?
Yes. Do
I'm
you
gonna
have
assume.
tips to take care of little siblings, or is that too different from parenting? That's the question. So thank you for asking it
Yeah.
again. They just asked it again.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So I hope that I'm understanding this right. We want to make sure that we don't put too much responsibility on the older child to be the
Mm,
parent sibling. I hope, I'm not sure if I'm actually answering the question that they have, but that's not to say that we can't help teach our older sibling or our older child to take responsibility and help. There's a lot of value in that, but we certainly don't want them to do the parenting for us.
right.
And I'm not sure if that's exactly what they were asking, but I'll give you another
I
answer
feel
to,
like it
yeah.
might be a younger person. I think I recognize his handle, like a miraculous fan, probably a
Oh,
teenager who has younger siblings that they're helping to take
oh,
care of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, got it. So, if you are in a position where you are in the position, well, or let's say for whatever reason your parents are not as available as they can be, because let's face it, that is a reality for many people. Yeah, I do think some of these strategies will work. I think that there's still also a recognition that you're probably going to get some pushback that like you're not the parent, you're just my brother or sister, but I do think that ultimately if there's a big takeaway from this, is how do you regulate yourself? So, teenager who's asking or who is listening, it's like, how do you, when you're ready to pop your lid on your younger sibling because they're not listening to you and you're just trying to survive at all and trying to help manage the home, it's how do you find your way back to calm? Sometimes, like even drinking a glass of water, a temperature change can help.
Mm,
Even two deep breaths can help to reset this parasympathetic nervous system we have. It kind of like helps feel our feet on the ground and ground us. Sometimes even just stepping away for a few minutes and then coming back with just like a little bit of a recharge can help, because I think that's, it's challenging, especially when you're also going through your own stuff,
yeah. I just saw a meme that was like, be sure to buy your older sister a Mother's Day card because she was your other mother growing up.
I mean, but that's the truth,
That was
right?
me. Yeah.
I mean, right. I mean, listen, like it, it's the reality for many, many, many families, right? And again, like that, this is a great example. Like we really are doing the best we can. And
Yeah.
it is okay that it is not perfect, because perfect fosters more anxiety,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
does. I mean, even though I'm like, oh my God, I'm ruining my child.
Yeah.
Like I have those moments. I'm like, oh my God, that's like
Of
at least doing
course.
your therapy, like for my kid. But it's, we really do the best we can.
Yeah.
And, some parents have to work all the time, and that's just the way it is. And they're not, able to be home. Some parents are single parent homes, and it's just, we're all in survival trying to make it work. And you're not doomed just because of that, you know?
No, I think, by the way, having a third child really helped me with that because I mean, I would call my mom at least every other day, if not every day, saying like, "Did I ruin him? Did I ruin him?" with my first. And I was just constantly worried about everything I did and he was little. Like
Yeah.
you can't really ruin a tiny child. No, but I just I would be like I can't even give you an example, but I was constantly worried. And now with the third child, I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. We'll get through it. Because you're just like in survival mode and you
Oh,
can't
right.
overanalyze.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, I mean, not to get like too, therapeutic on you, but like that's why birth order does make a big difference,
Totally.
you know?
100%. I
Yeah.
see. Okay. I would love to hear your thoughts on that birth order because I feel like the third is so, like he just has to go with the flow. He has to. He has to be okay
Yeah.
with it. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yes. I remember with my second, I don't have three, I have two. You're Wonder
But we
Woman.
both have boys, by the way, for my boy moms that are in the audience. Boy
Boy
moms here.
moms, boy moms.
That's a whole nother level of therapy.
I know that's a whole separate
Yes.
conversation, Selah.
Oh,
Um, No,
oh
I
my
think
God.
that I remember when my youngest, what Joshua was, he was like starting to come into his own and like have a voice, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't know what to do with more needs in the house. Like, can't you go back to like not having needs again? I don't want to foster a sense
Totally.
of self. I'm joking, by the way, I'm joking,
Yeah,
but
but a
like,
100%. That's actually, yeah, Ari, my baby is starting because he's 2 now and he's like starting to really have an opinion about things. Like he was like
yeah,
yelling at my second son for his toy, like, that's mine, that's mine. I'm like, you were fine a month ago. Like,
totally,
why do you care if it's yours?
totally. Oh, dude, go with the flow.
Yeah,
But
go
it's
back.
hard. I mean, it's yes, it's tricky. And listen, like sometimes they become more passive, but on the flip side, sometimes like I don't know, my kiddo, my younger one is like small and mighty. Like
Yeah,
he
because
is also
they
learning.
have to be heard. I feel like they're so strong. I don't know. Maybe that's such a generalization, but yeah, they learn to stand up for themselves. By the way, what is the biggest thing you see with your clients? And we could take more questions about kids, family. I'm sorry if I missed some. I could scroll up. But anyway, what is like the biggest question you get or the biggest topic that comes up in therapy with your clients? Like if you can share that, what's the biggest thing that causes stress for parents, would you say? Oh, there's so
Um,
many.
I mean, listen, a lot of pain points. I mean, is like a lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot of there's a couple of things, like a lot of kids are with a heightened anxiety and school refusal in high school and elementary school. I'm seeing a lot of that, and I'm not sure if that's a product of like also a culmination of COVID and transitions. So I have a lot of thoughts on that, but also like self-harming
Oh,
stuff that
gee.
come. Yeah, I know it's kind of like in the dark, getting into the dark stuff. I mean, the other stuff that comes up a lot is honestly like limit setting, and especially with just, a lot of the pushback and freaking out about, what to say in those moments. Um, I don't know. Things are coming up around like puberty
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
It's
Because you focus a
that.
lot on tweens and teens, right?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of parents. I used to see a lot of teens in my practice, and also when I did songwriting with them. Um, but I, I mean, I have parents of kids that are of all ages, but
Okay.
a lot of adolescent stuff. That's usually when it's like middle school adolescence. I see a lot of parents like, Mayday, Mayday, what do we do? Because just like the kids are getting stronger in their voice, physically stronger. They can't force them to do something the same way that maybe like, a toddler, you're like carrying them to their car while they're
Yeah.
screaming. You can't
I'm
do
going to
that.
move your body for you. I use that one a lot.
Totally.
Well, and that
So
actually,
it's
there's a lot of young people in my audience, teenagers and 20s and stuff, but a lot of tweens and teens from Miraculous. So if you guys have any questions, now is the time because we're not going to be here all night. I'm just kidding.
and there's no judgment or shame, like I
None.
actually think it's amazing that you have kind of like younger people that are listening, just because they're, here I am trying to like talk to parents, but sometimes when parents are not necessarily receptive or open to it, it's helpful sometimes to understand, um, that even if your needs are not all being met, what you're experiencing and what you're feeling the impact of is totally valid, even if you can't necessarily get the repair that
Yeah.
you're needing from. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that I work on with, it's like grieving what can't be in relationships.
Yes. That makes sense.
So,
I do think too, just going back a minute to the what you were saying about limit setting with teenagers and how hard that must be. I'm not there yet, but I feel like the more, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the more we can practice it now with little ones, like in my stage, or if you have even 6, 7, 8, 9 year olds,
yes.
right? Like it gets stronger the older your kids get, maybe, hopefully.
No, totally. I mean, here's the thing. Like I have this, course for parents of tweens and teens, but it so much of what I have in there, yes, there's strategies that apply to a little bit of older children, but so much of the core of the strategies are for any parent out
Oh,
there, right? Because it, like any single parent, and I will have resources eventually for parents of younger kids, just because there's been so much need and people are hungry for it and asking me, and I have lots of thoughts, but it's so much of it is just, it's such similar strategies around what's coming up in us as parents and how to
yeah.
help regulate ourselves and what needs to maybe be healed in us in order to show up in a more present way, adult state way,
Mm,
with our kids, or in ways that we wish we could show up, rather than like, oh my God, did I just sound like my mother? Like,
inevitable.
so yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally. And do you, by the way, this is so what's the word? Throwing a loop, throwing a wrench, throwing you for a loop. I never get sayings right. Don't
I don't
quote that.
either. Oh my
Um,
God, I'm the worst.
wait, me too. Why have we never talked about this?
I don't know.
I'm the worst with sayings. Oh man, it's so hard. I was gonna say I'm throwing you for a loop and a wrench. I'm just kidding. I don't know what that means. What if we did a giveaway for the course? Would you want to do that?
Yes, I would love that. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I love that idea.
Hey. So, okay, we will. Should we choose somebody from this live?
I would love that. So right now
Okay.
it's pre-sale. So what I can do is actually give the we can I can set aside the like give that for free, right? You do the
Okay.
giveaway, and then they get it when it comes out. It'll be coming out in June,
Okay. So,
and it's normally like a chunk of change.
oh,
So
good. All right. So we'll choose somebody from the live at random to send the course to. That'd be
I
great.
I love this idea.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm wondering if because if you're wanting to kind of if you're interested in it and you're wanting to know and if you're wanting to take advantage of pre-sale, what I can do is I wonder if I can even do it while we're talking, but put the link to the wait list and that way I can choose someone from that
Oh, that's
also.
a good idea. Here's what we'll do. When we post
Yeah,
this live, we'll post it to our feeds. We'll put in the comments the link, and make sure you're following both of us because we will post the winner on our stories,
I love that.
right?
I'll make a special giveaway page for you guys
Perfect.
For Sayla's crew.
Yay!
Do you guys have names for Sayla's
Selah's
peeps?
crew. Selah's peeps. Selah's.
Well, you're the queen of Instagram.
Well, I'm Queen Bee on Miraculous, Sari.
Hey, exactly. All
So
right.
my
So
little bees.
all of you queen bees and parents, and maybe there's queen boys.
Yeah.
Well, I guess bees can be boys or girls,
Yes.
or whatever. Oh my god.
It's getting late.
um,
We're tired.
we're parents and we're
We're
tired and it's middle
tired.
of
Literally,
but I
everyone's like,
love this
what are you
idea.
talking
I
about?
love this
I
idea.
love this
So
idea.
we'll do a giveaway. I will make a special page for Sayla's Queen
And if you
Bees and we
don't win, you could still buy the course, but you can also go to Sari's handle. There's so many free resources. And you could also message her because don't you do Zoom? Like, I don't know if you can take on any more clients, but if you can, you do virtual. Like, you don't have to be in Irvine.
Oh yeah,
And,
there's
right?
telehealth. I still do. Yes, I still see one to one, but I also have like the most incredible team of therapists with all sorts of different price ranges. I try to make it as accessible as possible for people that maybe can't
That's
pay
amazing.
full fee. So and regardless of whether there's someone that's a fit in my practice or not, I will help try to get you solid
That's
referrals. But in any event, like you can, take advantage of so many free resources that are out there. And there is, a pre-sale that is, happening right now that where it's $100 off. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
great. Yay. Well, I mean, we've been on for 50 minutes. It went by so
Oh my God,
fast.
that's a therapy hour.
It's literally, you guys all got a free therapy hour. No, I learned so much, and I love, Sari has so many awesome scripts that I literally refer to. And, but I love so much that we touched on today, like calming our own bodies and trigger points and things and ways to talk to your kid without losing your, you know what.
My
So
gosh,
thank,
that's what it's like raising your teens without losing your mind.
oh, is that
That's
what it's called?
what it's called.
Wait, that's amazing. I love that
Oh my
title.
God. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I feel like I made
Um,
it up myself. I'm just kidding.
yeah, and also there's going to be resources for parents of younger kiddos too. That's coming. I'm gonna have a webinar up for that soon. So
Amazing.
yeah.
And if you guys, if there's any last questions, I hope I didn't miss any questions, but if there's anything you want to ask that is therapy related, let us know. There's so many people like, say some lines for Miraculous. I'm like,
Oh
that is
my God,
not
you
what the show is.
should.
Don't be ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Ha! I said it.
Love that you're my friend.
watch, watch the end to get that right. Uh,
We should, oh my God, where am
hi.
I? We should make up a parenting song together and sing.
You know what's so
Um,
crazy?
as-
It said it paused because I wasn't using the app. What? That was so weird. I hope that didn't show on. I bet it did show that. But anyway, we should definitely do that. We should do parenting. There are some good ones out there.
parenting songs? Like what?
Yes. Like well, my boy mom rap for one thing. Just
Hey,
kidding. But you mean like parenting, like scripts? We should make the scripts
Yeah, we
into
should make them
songs. That's a great
into songs.
idea.
Why not?
When
You know,
when you feel like losing your shit, you just calm your body first.
breathe it through. Breathe.
Breathe it through.
I, I don't know. Maybe it's like, let it go, let it go.
Let this triggering moment go. You will regret this in the morning if you lose your shit on your kids.
But it's all the repair.
That's all that matters anyway. Oh, my friend Asia just joined. I'm going to call out someone. Hi, Asia. She would love you. Asia, you should have watched this entire live. You would have loved this. You came at the end. Well, this has been so great. I do think we need parenting songs. Those were genius.
Okay, we'll Marco them. We'll come up. Well, we're gonna. There's something in there.
There's
There
something
we're
in
gonna get
there. We could totally make tons of money on this.
$1 million.
Millions. I can see it now, Miss Rachel, but make it for parents.
Hey.
Oh my gosh. Do you know how many people have told me they're like, you should have been Miss Rachel. You would have been so good. I'm like, really? I
Wait,
played a
I
mean
actually,
girl.
I don't think you're a mean girl at all. Wait,
No,
what?
I'm not a mean girl. I'm very nice. I'm not like Chloe at all. But my
Oh,
voice is Chloe, the mean girl.
yes.
So it's like, I don't know if my voice is Miss Rachel.
I don't know. I feel like you could definitely. I feel like you could definitely pull it off.
I want to do the Miss Rachel for parents. Let's do that. And give parents scripts.
Okay, I love that. I
I
love
think
that.
it's. Oh, thank you, Mom. My mom just said. Oh no, I hope she didn't watch that. I'm just kidding.
You guys support. Oh yeah, Mom, we love you. We
We
love
love you.
Mama Victor.
She's the best. My mom raised 8 children, 6 boys, 2 girls. First of all, 6 boys. Just let's just stop there. But she's amazing, and she is a saint. And literally, I feel like never got angry at us. Like I look back, I'm like, she never yelled at us like I yelled at my boys. The Sayla and Cerise show. I like that. That's really good. Oh no. And here comes my
Oh my God,
child.
it's perfect timing.
Ezra, you have to go out now. Oh, Mom. All right. I think this is a good place to end hearing my 6-year-old, almost 7-year-old say, I think I'm going to throw up. This is one of those moments. Actually, I'm always, this is not a triggering moment for me, so I can stay calm.
Great. I'm like,
Oh,
let's talk you through it. Let's breathe through it.
no.
Sheila, thank you so much for having me. This
Thank you
was
for
so fun.
being here. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to post this to my feed and enter the contest. How about this? Well, we'll figure it out. If we should have them comment to enter, comment on the feed.
But we could do that too.
All
Um,
right, we'll
but
figure it out.
yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll let you know.
We'll
We'll
let you
let
know.
you know.
I hope you guys liked this. Stay tuned because I'm going to try to do one live per week. That might be too ambitious. Maybe once a month. Once a month, I'm going to try to go live with a friend that I feel like you guys could benefit from knowing because I benefit from having Suri in my life for many reasons,
Same,
not just for free therapy. I'm just kidding.
Sheila.
I'm
Same.
teasing.
I feel
I'm
so.
teasing.
I feel so lucky.
I love you. No,
Love you
it's
too.
such a great friendship of so many years, and you're the best. Everybody loves you.
Same.
It's true.
Everybody loves you. All right.
All right,
I will put away a giveaway page. I love this idea.
perfect.
Thank you guys for allowing me to enter your Chloe Queen Bee world, and parenting boy mom world. And I'm excited. Thank
Yay!
you.
All right. Bye, Sari. Bye, everyone. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.